Well, thank you, Gardening and Cocktails with Joy. I thoroughly enjoyed your video. If you have not checked out her channel, I will post the link in the description. She did her fall soup before mine. So now it is my turn. And if you're new here, my name is Adrienne and I am Indiana backyard gardener. I do some gardening, some cooking, some DIYs, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But today I'm going to be sharing a fall soup with you guys as part of the fall soup collab with Best Yet Journey. I am doing a stuffed pepper soup for you guys, and I'm excited to bring this to you guys because fall is a great time for those one pot wonder dishes and those comfort foods that we crave so much during those cold winter months. So let's get started. All right, so we're going to start with this ground chuck, which is 80-20 lean, 80% lean, 20% fat. I chose the leaner of the ground beef because I don't want a lot of fat in the soup. Peppers that I grew in the garden, diced them up and I froze them and I saved them for this particular recipe. I also have some onion that I grew in the garden as well, diced that up. I have 3 cloves of minced garlic. This is called Better Than Bouillon, and I'm going to use this to make my broth, my beef broth. This is the roasted beef base. I don't know if you guys can see that. It'll focus. This is some Italian seasoning, pink Himalayan salt, olive oil, and then I have diced tomatoes, and as a low carb option I'm going to use the riced cauliflower instead of actual rice because I know traditional stuffed peppers uses white rice, but I'm going to use the riced cauliflower instead. So let's get started, and I will post the recipe, the actual recipe, in the description, but for the sake of the video I'm just going to go ahead and go through making the soup. Okay, so I'm going to start by preheating my Dutch oven on a medium-high heat, and I'm just going to put about a tablespoon of this olive oil in there. I don't do a lot of real measuring, so I'm just going to kind of eyeball it. I'm going to heat this oil up, and then I'm going to add the ground beef to the oil, and I'm going to break it up and brown it just a little bit. All right, so I have a little over a pound, maybe a pound and a half of the ground beef, ground chuck in here, and I'm just going to break it up with a spoon. And I'm going to put a little bit of salt. Stir it up just a little bit, just to break it up. All right, so the meat is pretty brown. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out of the pan and put it aside. So I turned my heat down to medium. I took my meat out of the pot, set that aside. Now I got just this much oil at the bottom, not too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my vegetable and my onion to the oil. So that means all of my peppers, and all of my onion. And that's gonna cook down. Now that might take a little while because those peppers are kind of frozen. So I'm gonna let that cook down. All right, so I added my veggies to the pot. I'm gonna put a little bit of salt in with those. Now it's not a lot of salt, and I'm gonna cook these veggies for about, I'd say about 10 minutes on the medium. Actually, I think I'm gonna put it back on medium high. If your vegetables are not frozen, I would say medium. But since my peppers are frozen, I'm gonna go ahead and leave it on the medium high because these peppers are cold. So now they have made my pot cold and I need that to heat back up. So that is gonna heat and cook until those veggies are nice and caramelized. All right, so we are almost there. You can see these peppers are cooking up nicely. I don't want to rush it. I did turn the heat down to medium. You don't want to rush it because the outside of the peppers will cook faster than the inside, and then the peppers won't get, you know, that sweet flavor won't come out. So I don't want to rush it. I want it to do its thing. I am just going to let it cook for about another 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll move on to the next step. All right. So you can see that these veggies have started to caramelize. We are ready for the next step. We're going to put the meat back in. Okay. And now we're going to add the garlic. And then I'm going to stir this up. We're ready to add the next ingredients. So we're going to add the broth, the tomatoes, and the Italian seasoning. So I'm just going to dump these tomatoes in there. So we've got the can of tomatoes. Italian seasoning, we're going to do 1 tablespoon. And now for the broth, 4 teaspoons. And 4 cups of water. Give it a stir. All right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to bring this to a boil, and then I'm going to partially cover it and let it simmer for about 30 minutes. So at this point, if you are going to be using regular long grain rice, you can pre-cook the rice while this is simmering because it's going to take about 20 to 25 minutes to cook the rice. You can do that, or you can just add the rice right to the pot and let it simmer and cook, you know, together, because the rice will cook. Keep in mind that the rice will puff up and it will absorb a lot of the liquid. So you don't want to put too much rice if you want this to be soup and not stew. Now, if you like it thicker, then, you know, by all means, use as much rice as you like. Now, for the low carb option, I am using this riced cauliflower. So I'm going to add this to my pot because I want the flavors to marinate and cook in with the rice cauliflower. So I'm going to add a cup of this riced cauliflower to my pot. All right, I've added the cup, and it looks like I want probably 2 cups. And let's see what that looks like. I think that'll be better. I think we're gonna go with 2 cups and call it good with 2 cups. All right, so that's good there. And then what we're gonna do is, like I said, we're gonna let this simmer. First, we're gonna bring it to a boil, and then we're gonna let it simmer for 30 minutes. And then I'll bring you guys back. Okay, we are boiling. Look at that. Oh wow, it smells amazing. All of those spices and the peppers and the bouillon, it's all coming together, and I can smell all of those wonderful flavors just marrying together. All right, so now that we're up to a boil, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna turn it down to low, and I'm going to simmer it for 30 minutes with the lid partially on. So as you can see, I have left enough space for that to vent, and like I said, 30 minutes. Lid off carefully. This smells amazing. All right, so like I mentioned, you can serve this a couple of different ways. If you make your rice ahead of time, or, you know, on the side, let's say you pre-cook your rice. When you serve your soup in your bowl, you can put your rice directly on top of the soup. For presentation purposes, this would look amazing. You can put a scoop of rice right on top of the soup with a sprinkle of parsley, maybe a little Parmesan cheese. Amazing, okay? I am choosing to do the low carb method, so I already have the riced cauliflower in the soup, and I did go ahead and add the whole bag. I went ahead and added there was no sense in putting that little bit of the bag away, so I just went ahead and put the whole bag in. So that is my version. But if you are going to go ahead and do rice, then you can put it in, and then you can serve it and just put your cheese right on top. There's so many different ways you can serve this up, but this is the finished product. I'm going to show this to you in the bowl the way I would eat it. All right, we're going to serve this up just like this. Look at this, beautiful peppers. Get some of that broth in there. Look at that. Beautiful. All right, now we're going to put some of this cheese on top. I've got some mozzarella cheese just some fancy shredded mozzarella cheese. I'm just going to put that right on top. Along with a little bit of Parmesan cheese. And that is it. That is your stuffed pepper soup. Well guys, that's going to do it for this video. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Like I said, if you're new here, please like, subscribe, share, comment in the comment section below. Let me know if you have had this recipe, if you've made this recipe before. And then tomorrow, check out Chef Pam. She will be doing her fall soup on tomorrow. I will post the link for her channel in the description below, and you can head on over to her channel and check out her soup. Again, thank you to Best Yet Journey for collaborating with all of the wonderful channels. If you have not subscribed to Best Yet Journey, please check out her channel, and she also has a playlist that includes all the channels that are involved in the fall soup collaboration. So go ahead and check her out, check out the playlist, check out all the wonderful channels and the great recipes. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Thanks again for joining me, and happy fall.